Ladies and gentlemen, Hatton Promotions, sponsored by Viamax Nutrition, Paul's Forge International Sports Centre, live and exclusive on Sky Sports HD Fight Night. Proudly present 12 3-minute rounds of boxing for the Super Featherweight Championship of Great Britain. The officials have been appointed by the British Boxing Board of Control. Steward in charge at ringside, Mr. Jeff Bolton. Matchmaker, Richard Pogson. Timekeeper the bell, Barry Pender from Sheffield. The three scoring judges at ringside this evening are Howard Foster from Mar Doncaster, Mark Green from Romford, and Dave Paris from Woodlesford, Leeds. Finally, when the action commences, the star referee in charge of the action is Mr. John Keane from Wellingborough. Introducing to you firstly, boxing out of the red corner, wearing the blue-coloured shorts trimmed with silver. At the weigh-in yesterday, he scaled 9 stone, 3 pounds, 8 ounces. His excellent record reads 25 contests, 23 wins. 8 of those wins coming by way of knockout, with only 2 defeats. He comes to the ring this evening as the 2010 prize fighter champion, presenting from Cardiff, the challenger this evening, Gary Dynamo Buckland. And opposing him, boxing out of the blue corner, wearing the blue spangled shorts trimmed with red. At the weigh-in yesterday, he also scaled 9 stone, 3 pounds, 8 ounces. His outstanding record reads 20 contests, 19 wins. 5 of those wins coming by way of knockout, with only this single defeat, which he aims to avenge this evening, making the 3rd defence of his championship, presenting the current Super Featherweight Champion of Great Britain, presenting from Newsbury, Gary 5-Star Sykes. Mr. Keane with his final instructions, 12 3-minute rounds.
Right, you both received your instructions in the dressing room. You know what I expect of both of you. Shake hands and come out boxing. Good luck.
So final instructions from referee John Keane. Don't blink. We're not expecting a repeat, but just a reminder, if you're just tuning in, the last time these two met, it was all over in 45 seconds, and that fella was on the floor. If that happens again, the Lonsdale belt changes hands tonight. Will it happen for Gary Buckland? Will Gary Sykes win that Lonsdale belt outright? Let's find out. I think in many ways, Jim, the best thing that could have happened to Gary Sykes after that prize fighter disaster was to go in with a real tough nut like Carl Johansson and get off the floor and win to defend your British title. That'll get your confidence back.
Yeah, you have to ask, was that a freak result? If that same punch had landed in the 3rd round when the adrenaline was flowing and it had warmed up, I mean, there is such a thing as being caught cold. I mean, I reckon Sykes has been hit with bigger punches than the one that knocked him out and still hung on in there and carried on with the job. But he is the one who has to be convinced of that, not us.
And Sykes, you know, will be unloading right from the start. Talking to Tony Borg, his trainer, he said they're going to come looking for him and going to try and knock him out of his comfort zone immediately. And yes, a couple of times he's tried to land the right uppercut.
A good left hook from Buckland. I think Buckland's plan must be to remind Sykes of the power that he carries as soon as possible and get him thinking negatively, maybe get a couple of rounds in the bank.
And concentration is the key. Talking to Julian McGowan, the trainer of Gary Sykes, as a right hand gets through. He said they've been working hard in sparring. They had sparring partners, real good quality opponents going in with him, and they're getting on him right from the start. They want to work on his concentration, because if you blink against Gary Buckland, it could be the end of the fight.
Well, Buckland not having much trouble finding the target up close. I would have expected Sykes to want this at a little further range, you know, get the jab working, just nuts himself into this one, but he's standing right in front of Buckland. Good shot.
And that's where Buckland likes his opponents. A couple of big right hands going in, and there he is looking for the uppercut again. But that's better from Sykes.
See, Sykes, one of his biggest assets is his engine, his work rate. But when you do more punching than thinking, then you take chances and you offer target. And that's what's happening in the opening round. He's offering too much target to Buckland.
Just missing the left hook there, and then the right hand comes whistling in. He really is delivering with full force right from the first second of this fight, Gary Buckland. Good little combination from Sykes, but it was flashy. And he definitely does not want to get drawn into a brawl with Gary Buckland.
Well, I think he has to get the confidence that he can stand with Buckland, take his shots and still be there. And he's taken a few thumping punches in the opening round without flinching. But not a good round for the champion, I don't think.
It'll be a good round if he can hear the bell for his psyche, as much as anything else. He can forget about that prize fighter debacle and say, right, let's settle down for 12 rounds against this fella. The first round might not have been terrific. We've got a long way to go.
Right down over the top, nearly with it. Good lad.
Tony Borg issuing the instructions. Good first round. That's exactly what they would have wanted in the challenger's corner.
Yep, a lot of impressive looking punches from Buckland. Pretty much all of the punches that you remember came from him. Thumping right hands over the top. The body shots were good, uppercuts in close. There you see one there. Excellent opening round for the challenger.
But they won't be too concerned in the Sykes corner. They think, in fact, they said they won't be at all surprised if their man is behind at the halfway point. But they feel that the longer it'll go on, the more Buckland will become one-dimensional, and that their man's superior boxing skills will take over.
Well, they do accept that Sykes is a slow starter. You can start slowly, but you don't want to be taking punches in the early rounds. You know, if you're out of range, making the other guy miss, starting slowly is okay. I thought he took too many shots in the opener.
Accurate puncher, isn't he, Buckland?
And you have to say it's Buckland's kind of fight, although having said that, Sykes has been in some terrific tear-ups as well.
A little uppercut again there, Sykes, as he stepped in. Nice left to the body. Sykes always likes to get his opponent in front of him. That's where he throws his punches. Not an awful lot of finesse from the man from the valleys. Just gets in, gets where he wants to be, and starts to unload. And takes a terrific punch as well. It took John Murray, who's a big lightweight, it took him forever to get rid of him.
It's getting smudged, that's the thing. It's got a bit of Vaseline on it. Can you see that?
A little bit of missing in this round from both men. So a little bit more thought to defence, but still a fair old pace.
I think it's one of the wet wipes. I think it's got grease on it from the Vaseline. Once you've got that on, try to get it off again.
Making a miss. Buckland threw a couple of big uns. Sykes saw them both. Moved out the way. Nice left to the body there from Sykes. That got the fans into it.
Just a little reminder there just how tough and gritty Gary Sykes is. He can be in this kind of battle. He's been in a few, never been found wanting. So I think he'll be growing in confidence now. This is tough action, real hard work. But he's hanging on in there, coping with it well. Good burst of punches from him.
This is a guy who owns a decision over Anthony Crolla. Another full-blown lightweight British champion. So Sykes can mix in company. That was nice from Buckland. Drew him in, punished him with a right hand to the midsection.
Yeah, and just the last half minute, Sykes has lost that accuracy we were seeing from him. Buckland maybe found a few answers.
There are big, solid shots going in this British super featherweight title fight.
Punching. Okay.
A couple of really good trainers, unsung trainers in many ways, going to work here. Tony Borg with Gary Buckland, who masterminded that terrific win last week for Lee Selby, as we look at the stats so far. And Julian McGowan, who's a real student of the game, really breaks down film of opponents and really studies tendencies. strengths, weaknesses, and things that his man can exploit. They both come into this one with a game plan. Let's see which one of them can prevail. Nice right to the body, and that's one of the strategies from Gary Sykes' team. They say they want to get him moving to the right-hand side because they think Buckland is vulnerable to right hands to the body.
He is good with short punches up close, though. Buckland jab, tongue to the hook. Nice little right hand from him. I still feel this type of fight suits him. Putting full power into every shot, Buckland. I don't know if that's a good idea in this kind of fight. You know it's going to be tough. Pacing is going to be equally important here. It's keeping your game plan in order.
Nice inside work from Sykes. Nothing like the power, but it's scoring punches, and that's what counts. And this is the strategy for Sykes. They do believe, oh, good uppercut from Buckland. Strategy can go out the window when you land a shot like that. Sykes backing up.
Sykes is at his most vulnerable when he's throwing his own punches. His head comes up a little bit, he leaves himself that bit open, and Buckland is so quick with the counter. Another close round, but Buckland, I think, having the better of things so far. Oh, good stuff from Sykes. You just have to wonder that the power, you know, that Buckland is throwing into every punch over the 12 rounds in this heat. You wonder, is he going to run out of steam?
Well, let's see what they are thinking in the Sykes camp. Another good shot from Buckland, because he does load up with everything. These are painful punches that Buckland is landing, and he's switching the point of attack and getting a nice left hook and then a right hand, and that's good punches that Sykes is fielding and standing up to here, but he doesn't want to take too many of these.
I think that was the right hand that knocked him out in the previous fight. That's the difference when you go on to the task. Your adrenaline's flowing. That was a beautiful right hand from Buckland. Some hurtful punches from him in this round.
But the better work still coming from Buckland. He is loading up, but he's getting through, and he's putting rounds in the bank. That's better from Sykes. He's got to start showing a bit of flash here, Sykes. Start putting his punches together.
Next little bust again from Buckland, finishing on the left hook. We reckon this would be a tremendous battle, and it is.
Yeah, really warming up nicely, this one.
You're going too early.
We knew we'd push 3 to 6. Yes, you are. You're in the pocket. Listen.
You're throwing 9 jabs.
Round 3 to 6, we knew we'd push. Make him miss. Make him miss.
Now some really impressive punching from Buckland in that round, putting punches together well. A couple of good responses from Sykes, but I thought it was Buckland's round.
Interesting listening in the corner there, though, from Gary Sykes. And Julian McGowan was really laying down the law as to what the strategy and the technique was to land those right hands and then get out of town. And Sykes insisting that that's what he's doing. And McGowan saying, no, you're not. And now left hand lands from Buckland.
And Buckland's keeping his defences together well also. Can't always say the same thing for Sykes.
It's all very well for the Sykes camp to say, well, we'll be behind after 6 and then come on strong. You don't want to be a mile behind. You might not have enough rounds to pull it back.
There's a left hook. I mean, he's offering far too much target. He's too easy to hit with clean punches, Sykes. We'll have to remember, I mean, Buckland doesn't suddenly become a huge knockout artist because of the previous fight between them. He doesn't have an awful high knockout ratio. And now that Sykes has warmed to the task here, we'll have to remember he is a tough guy. So I wonder, Buckland definitely going for the knockout in every round. Is this a mistake?
They're still loading up. Yeah, Buckland has gone the distance his last 2 fights. It's really interesting, this one. These two trying to establish their own game plan.
A good jabbing there from Buckland, just nice little feint before he did that. I wonder if Sykes is just leaving himself in second gear for the first half of this fight, if that's the plan. His corner, they were telling him not to go too quickly here. As you say, it's dangerous. Being behind, it's only 12 rounds these days, it's not the old 15-round championship distance. Better response here from Sykes.
And now Buckland starts to turn up the heat. Good right hand gets through. Buckland's landed a lot of decent shots. Sykes has stood up to everything and not really wobbled yet.
Buckland has answered everything that Sykes has come up with in this round. Still looking the stronger at this stage, as we expected.
Missing badly there, but Sykes unable to capitalise. It was Buckland straight back on him.
Yeah, nice little reaction there from Buckland. He knew he had committed himself and he got out of it well.
Buckland doesn't fear Sykes' punching power. You can see that. He'll take risks. That's something Sykes cannot afford to do, as he knows.
You can't afford to run out of steam in this kind of fight. And at the moment, I see that as the biggest danger from Buckland. He's putting so much into what he's doing. He's giving it 100%. That's the kind of guy he is. And I thought that was another round to Buckland.
Keep boxing and keep tight, kid, like he just said. Like Bob's just said. Keep
they really are trying to keep Gary Sykes on message.
I just think too many defensive lapses from Sykes. And it's another round for me that you remember the punches that Buckland landed. Some good responses from Sykes, but I like the look again of Buckland in that round.
Round 5, Gary Buckland, the challenger for this British super featherweight title. Doing a lot of sparring with Carl Frampton, Elise Selby. He had such a sensational win last week, of course. Been doing a lot of sparring with him for speed. Robbie Turley as well. That's the kind of sparring that Buckland's been getting.
See, it's not in Sykes' nature to box on the move, not win this without getting involved. So there's going to come a time when he's going to have to be able to outfight Gary Buckland. And I wonder, when that time comes, will he be physically able to do that? A lot depends on what Buckland has left. Oh, good stuff there from Sykes.
It's better. I think the message from the corner is finally starting to get through. They want him moving, particularly to his right, which we're not seeing. They want him working the body with the right hand. They feel that Buckland is going to get one-dimensional the longer this fight goes on, and when you factor in what you've talked about fatigue as well, Jim, but he's got to stay close and win some of these middle rounds to have a chance for that to come to fruition.
See, the thing is, it's been impossible to use the jab, for Sykes, because of the way Buckland is jumping on him. But when this pace slows, as he's beginning to slow a little bit now, that's when the jab comes into play. That's when Buckland's taking a split second longer to get his attacks off, and then Smith can use that split second to get, Sykes can use that split second to get the jabs off. Finding a bit more time now, Sykes.
That was a good combination from the Welshman.
Then you have a psychological situation for Buckland. He knows he's facing a guy whose strongest asset as he's boxing over the 12-round distance. If he starts to go tired round about the halfway stage, that'll put big down. A good body shot from Sykes.
They've both done the 12 rounds. And as you say, it is very hot in this ring as well, this auditorium.
Sykes looking more comfortable now. Good work from Sykes.
Yeah, this is better. The punch is starting to flow, and the Welshman still loading up with these big single shots. When they land, you can see the sweat spraying off the face and the head of Gary Sykes, who missed there on that combination. But a more even round this. Nice body shot.
Not the same intensity from Buckland, a bit more thought into his boxing, which I'm not knocking, because he's going to have to think about the 12-round distance here. He's landed his best shots. Sykes hasn't budged.
Yeah, Yeah, this really is developing it into an interesting one, isn't it? Adam Smith is at ringside with the man we heard from earlier, Alex Arthur. Adam.
Well, Alex, it might not have the scintillating drama of your fight with Gomez, but it's pretty compelling stuff, isn't it?
Oh, it's a really exciting fight. I've got Buckland up by 1 round just now, but it looks like Sykes is coming back into it.
Nip and tuck, great action. John Keane's hardly had to do anything, the referee.
No, really clean, neat boxing with both boys, and it looks like it's going to turn into an absolute barnstormer, yeah.
Obviously, Sykes has got through the early rounds. Is that crucial now? Will his strategy start to come into play?
I think it was really important. It looks like he's taken the right hand a number of times, the one that knocked him out first time. I think that'll do his confidence the world of good, and I think he's going to come on good late.
Yeah, do you think Buckland might run out of steam because of the early push?
He looks very fit. I can't really see it. I think he's going to keep going at that pace.
All the way, who wins?
Oh, can't say now. It's too close.
And that's what we want, isn't it, Nick?
Absolutely, but talk about sitting on the fence, Alex Harper. But I'll tell you what, if his scorecard is to be believed, the Sykes camp are exactly where they want to be right now.
So I'm wondering now at this point in the fight who is the more adaptable, and I'm thinking that might be Gary Sykes. I mean, can Gary Buckland, can he come up with something else if this stops working? Or is it just this charge forward and putting punches together? Trying to draw him into a bit of a brawl. This is better stuff from Sykes, more thoughtful in his boxing now.
Well, this is the report card on Gary Buckland, that he is this tough throwback. You know, this is a fella you have to force him to put a gum shield in during sparring. He doesn't like to wear a head guard, doesn't like to wear the bandages. He's real old school, Gary Buckland. But the feeling is, whether this is true or not, we will find out, that the longer it goes, the more one-dimensional he gets, and that a good boxer can pick him off. That's what the Sykes camp are hoping is going to happen. And if Sykes starts working the right hands to the body, you'll know that strategy is paying off, because that's what Julian McGowan said he wanted to see today. Haven't seen much of it through the first 5 rounds or so, but he's starting to really settle to his work here, Sykes.
Yeah, but Buckland trying to pick up the pace as well. Yep, there he goes, good uppercut. I think he realises he let things slip a little bit in the previous round, trying to re-establish himself.
And now the tempo really picking up as Sykes starts to pick his man off, and Buckland comes back with some stuff. And Sykes just has to be careful. Don't get involved in a brawl with Gary Buckland. You can't win that way. That's been the message from his camp.
Well, difficult to split them in the first couple of minutes of this round. Will someone take over and sway it one way or the other? This really is tremendous stuff.
You've got to like the concentration that we're seeing from Gary Sykes. They've had some real good sparring with him. Carl Johansson has given him some serious workouts. He's been in with the likes of Anthony Crolla, Scott Quigg, Stephen Smith. Real high-quality sparring, and those sparring partners have all been told the same thing. Get in his face. Don't let him breathe for a moment. And the aim has been, get the concentration level up. You have to concentrate against this man. The tape starting to work loose on the left glove of Gary Buckland. And I think John Keane might have spotted it. But it's becoming, Jim, you just get the sense, more of the kind of fight that Gary Sykes would like it to be at the moment.
Yeah, well, he's the one with the terrific engine. That's probably his biggest asset, not to detract from the skills the guy has and the determination, but he does have a terrific engine. I'm finding it difficult to split them in this one. A good right hand from Buckland.
There's enough warning signs out there. The Buckland is not finished, not by a long way. That was a terrific right hand, and a Buckland right hand can turn this around in the blink of an eye. But a much better round for Gary Sykes. He's really starting to settle down a bit now.
Listen, you've got scissors there. Right, the little look, you've got scissors. The little right, the little right hook you're doing is killing him. Okay, yeah, we know that. The problem what we've got here, guys, right, is you're outboxing him for a minute, and then you're taking a minute off, and he's having his turn, and then you're leaving a little bit left in these rounds where they could.
Well, I found it impossible to split them in that round. I mean, quality work from either man. They seem to take turns each. One would gain the ascendancy, then the other one would take. Tremendous round, tremendous fight. Have Buckland 1 point up, as you can see, due to the fact he came out of the blocks a little bit quicker.
So at the halfway point, not much in it. Let's see if Gary Sykes can establish his superior boxing skills in the second half of this fight to win that Lonsdale belt outright. Or will Gary Buckland keep this pressure on and slowly but surely wear his man down? Fascinating stuff, this.
You know, I think the biggest fear before the fight starts for Sykes was that he gets blasted out again. I mean, that would have ruined his career. But I think he's in a comfortable position now. He has his confidence, he knows he can stand with Buckland, and he has the confidence now that I'm not sure he brought into the ring with him.
Well, as Alex Arthur was saying earlier, you heard him talking to Adam, that he's taken some of those right hands. And look at some of the punches he took against Carl Johansson when he climbed off the floor to defend his title. It's all going to be about restoring his confidence. The prize fighter was a one-off, and a totally different discipline, of course. All about aggression, not about defensive work.
Yeah, well, they're both doing a little bit of slipping and sliding now, just trying to cut down the damage, putting a little bit more thought into what they're doing, not just standing in each other's faces. Still top quality.
Cagey stuff. Buckland being a little bit more circumspect when he's throwing the big punches now. They're not coming quite as much as they were earlier. And he just tried to land a right hand there, and Buckland slipped it.
I think if Buckland starts to stand off, then the fight could start to tilt in Sykes' favour. I think he has to be in Sykes' face, has to commit himself, has to initiate the attacks.
Nice left to the body, followed by right upstairs from Buckland. Good accurate punches. And there's that right to the body again from Sykes. Now right upstairs, and Buckland being made to miss. Decent little spell this for the champion. And then just as you think one guy is starting to find a rhythm, the other one comes back. That was good from Buckland.
Sykes still not able to bring the jab into play. He does have a decent jab. I thought now that the pace has slowed that little bit, we'd see more of that, but we're not.
Good right hand from Buckland. Oh, that was a nice right uppercut. Still landing some really punishing single shots here, Buckland, and enough of them as well to catch the eye. Never mind wear down the opponent, but to catch the eye of the three scoring judges. Some good work with the jab as well. That was a terrific left hand, and Sykes really felt that on the bell. Just for a moment there, you saw the head drop, and then the bell sounded. It came at a very, very good time for the champion.
A round off when you're a couple of rounds down. Yeah. Does that make any sense to you? No. Right? Why did you do that? Why aren't you going to work? You stop punching now. You stop punching.
When I went for it,
listen, it doesn't matter, right? Yeah. You're going to drop this fight on points because you just stopped working.
Taking his head in that corner, right? We ain't doing. They were enjoying it, right? The scout there, we find another gear.
Another tremendous round, but I feel it was another round where the punches, you remember, came from Buckland, digging them in, uppercuts, hooks, showing the imagination, whereas Sykes seemed to be reacting to what Buckland did in that round. I think he's going to have to take the initiative a bit more, or his title could be disappearing.
Yeah, the balance of power tilted again at the end of that last round, didn't it? It really did. And you were saying earlier, Jim, that you thought it might be Buckland that might tire the longer it went on. Well, Sykes was certainly looking a bit weary then, and you just wonder about the accumulative effect of these punches that Buckland has been landing right from the first bell.
I just think Buckland is the one who's gritting his teeth that little bit harder and forcing it out. That's what you have to do in this kind of fight. This is not a fight for the smooth skills. You have to bite on that gumshoe and just grind out a performance. In that round, Buckland, for me, looked to the one able to do that.
And he's outworking Sykes in the early stage of round 8 here as well, the challenger. Sykes needs to find a response. That's a decent left hand. Oh, stuns Buckland a little bit with that two-punch combination. You don't see that too often.
Yeah, but we haven't seen enough good, clean punches like that from Sykes. You know, he's catching the top of the head above the ear.
Oh, second shots coming in from Buckland to the midsection again, and now we've got some tape working loose on the left glove of Sykes.
Well, Sykes is not taking command in this round. Again, not a lot to split them, but Buckland is still the one just giving a little bit more, just trying to get himself into the driving seat.
Well, Sykes is not boxing to order as a right hand comes in. There's no question about that. Now, whether that's because Buckland just won't let Sykes box the way he wants to, whether he's just not listening to his corner. But this is not what Gary Sykes wanted to be doing in round 8. He wanted to be using his superior skills to just dominate and pick his opponent off, and it's not happening.
Still defensive lapses from Sykes. Not tight enough, especially when he's throwing shots.
That was better from Sykes. And that's the problem he's got. Buckland can take his best stuff. There was a moment earlier in this round that you just thought maybe Buckland got hurt, and just missed with an uppercut there that really could have been interesting if he'd hit the button.
And then he walked onto a shot, Buckland, just as he was letting that punch go. But still, again, he's the one biting down, trying to grind it out of himself.
Body shots from Buckland. And there's another one. And then he switches it upstairs. Clever stuff from Buckland. And you've got to say, it's a decent round again for Gary Buckland. So much for Gary Sykes running away with it in the second half. That is not panning out.
Better round, right? The better round. You're just going to have to take him there and see if his heart can do it, all right? Because he had the incentive early on. You're giving him those rounds, and there you stood with him and you're showing him, look, you're going to have to drag this title from me.
The stats show that Buckland is outscoring Sykes.
Step to the right down over the top. You listening? Listen, tell me what you're going to do.
It really reflects what your card was saying earlier.
You know, you have to take quality into the equation as well. It's not just who can throw the most punches. I felt that in a lot of the close rounds, Buckland was throwing real eye-catching punches, uppercuts, hooks, you know, right hands over the top, solid right hands. We haven't seen as much of that from Sykes. So in the close rounds, sometimes I've leaned it towards Buckland because of that.
As we go into round 9, Gary Buckland still looking really fresh. As we go into the trenches. Who can dominate these last 4 rounds? Can one of these fellas assert their superiority? We weren't really expecting a repeat of prize fighter. We were never going to get that. Inside right hand from Buckland. And followed up with a decent combination as well. It's Sykes that's struggling with the range a little bit here.
There's a kind of slackness about Sykes' boxing. Buckland's that little bit tighter. You know, the chin's down in between the shoulders. When he's throwing punches, he's keeping his chin down. There's a looseness at times about Sykes' boxing, and that's why he's taking so many big shots on the chin.
I like some of the work we're seeing from Buckland, the variety of it as well. Tony Ball was saying it's not necessarily the power with this fella, it's the accuracy that does the damage, and he's certainly finding some accuracy with those right hands to the body in this round.
Yeah, those pay dividends in this kind of fight, in this kind of heat. Buckland just keeps pumping out the shots, again biting down on the gum shield and grinding out what's required. Good right hand.
Sykes felt that one, and all the strategy that they went in with in this fight is going out the window.
There was a demoralised look on Sykes' face for that shot, as though, where did that come from? What is going on here? He knows he's losing his grip on this.
Yeah, this is not going according to the script. And Sykes just keeps pounding away at the body, then switching upstairs. And the one thing we do know is Sykes does not have the power to stop Gary Buckland, who is really strong at super feather. The only 2 defeats that Buckland's ever had are at lightweight.
But we expected him to have the engine, and that hasn't been evident. I mean, Buckland has really set the pace, who has put full power into so many of the shots in the early round. He's still full of fire, but he's the one with a title to win tonight. Sykes is trying to hang on to what he's got, but they should maybe remind him his Lonsdale belt is at stake here tonight.
Well, it's the kind of fight Gary Buckland wanted, isn't it? This is going exactly the way he wanted it. And has Tony Borg come up with another master plan? He did it last week for Lee Selby, who was a huge underdog against Stephen Smith in the other guy's backyard. Is Borg going to be 2 for 2 tactically?
Good body shot from Sykes.
But back comes Buckland. Good body shots of his own, an uppercut thrown in there as well. And again, you mentioned the body language earlier, Jim. Gary Sykes is not looking happy.
You've got to do this till the end. Now listen, do you know what you're doing? You're asking him questions now, okay?
He's never
thought
been
he
here.
was pulling away, and now you're asking him questions because he's not responding. You just got to go into overdrive, son. Every time you're in close, smash that rib, smash it up the middle, and then just cover up, and then do it again and cover up, and do it again and cover up.
Now these body shots in this kind of fight, at this stage of the fight, so energy sapping. But again, I felt another round with the quality shots. See, that was a good burst from Sykes, but they're all partially blocked. He's not finding the chin or the target the way Buckland is doing.
Come on.
It's far too close for anybody to start celebrating. And Tony Borg throwing a metaphorical bucket of cold water all over Gary Buckland there and saying, go on, go out and win this thing. 3 more rounds of this from the Welshman, and you think this title's changing hands.
Yeah, well, I've got Buckland stretching his lead. Just think he's been the one biting down that little bit harder, as I've said, on the gum shield, forcing things. So Sykes has it all to do.
If your car's to be believed, he needs to put Buckland on the floor, and you can't see that happening.
No, haven't seen any signs of it.
A little blood around the nose of Sykes now.
Good work from Sykes.
He needs to dominate this round for his own psyche as much as anything else. That's better. Very nice digging left into the body. But back comes Buckland straight away.
It's not about tactics any longer here. It's just about giving whatever you have left. Just get the punches, pump them out with as much power as you can muster. Don't think about how many rounds you have ahead. Just think about every single punch you're throwing. Think of it now.
Yeah, all the tactics are out the window. You can hear it in both corners. They've given up. They've said everything they've got to say. There's a left hand gets in from Sykes.
Buckland missing a little bit now. Buckland swinging with the punches and missing. Good response from Sykes.
A little bit wild from Sykes. He's looking weary. And a good response again. Toe-to-toe stuff, but you do feel that if that's what this degenerates into, it's going to play into the hands of the Welshman. And that was a good combination from Sykes, and he just met a combination in return. Buckland is just not letting him have any space to work at all.
That's the thing about Buckland. He has answered everything that Sykes has thrown at him. This has been a good round for Sykes. He's been sent out to have a good round. I think his corner know that this is maybe slipping away from him. They don't want to demoralise him by saying that to him, but they have to impress him. He needs a couple of big rounds, and he's gone out to try and get that.
There is so much tension etched into the faces in the corners. And a lot of tension around this auditorium as well, because there's a lot of Buckland fans here and nobody can quite feel that they've got this one where they want it. Because this is better for Sykes. And if it's closer than Jim's card suggests, and it might well be, that Sykes could be right back in this. Oh, good shot! And Buckland was stood up in absolute disbelief for a moment there. And he needs to hear the bell. Well, what a moment right at the end of that round.
Out on his feet, right? And go on now, your hands nice and tight. Wait for him to throw, lean back and bang, punish him. Look for that clean shot now, right? Listen, in my mind, you're winning the fight, right? I'm not judging it, right? So, you're going to give me 2 big rounds now? Massive rounds for your kids. Listen to me, you've got 2 sons. I want 1 round for each son. Listen to me?
Yeah.
1 round for each son.
What have I promised you, Gar? What have I promised you?
Don't you come back this time, you have to tell you to work, right? You work now.
Well, at this stage of such a hard fight, the punch resistance not quite what it was when you were at your strongest, and I think we saw the effects of that. Tremendous punch, maybe the first time we've seen a real impact. That was pretty much like the right hand that actually put Sykes over in their last meeting. So now we've just reached this stage. What have you got in the tank? What are you prepared to drag out of yourself?
Gary Sykes was off his stool early, ready to come back out again. John Keane calls him to the centre of the ring, and it's Buckland that comes out flying, as if he knows he's got to have a response. As he really was shaken there at the end of that last round. And it's Sykes dragging himself back into this. Really is an epic battle. Sykes sinking a good right hand to the body, and he's outworking Buckland here in the early going of this 11th round.
Sykes has turned a couple of fights in his favour in the last quarter. He's been asked to do it again. He's got a target shot.
He's in trouble here though. Buckland got him, and he's looking for the finish, and now it's Buckland that slipped, but he definitely landed. And has that given Sykes a moment or two to recover? Sykes was shaken.
See,
gets him.
Sykes has to take chances now. He has to throw caution to the wind. He's been doing that a little bit too often throughout the fight, but now he has no choice, and I have no argument with it.
This is brave, brave stuff from both these men. And Buckland is just powering his way through here, and Sykes standing with him. It's a real war of attrition. There's no other way to describe this now. As Sykes recovered, he was hurt. But has he pulled himself together? But Buckland is working on him still.
Yeah, Buckland just pumping out a few more punches at the moment, just dragging it out of himself. Buckland has to be careful that he doesn't think he's got this in the bag and there's a chance he can coast. He has to keep blazing back, taking chances while he does it.
Neither of these guys has got this in the bag. No way. No way. And they know it. We can all have our cards, but it really is too close to call, surely.
Well, for the first time, Buckland's defences have deserted him, but I think we're at this stage, it's not about defence, it's just about getting through this and dragging everything out of yourself. They're both doing that.
They really are, digging deep. And it's a battle of who's the toughest mentally as much as anything now. They're both landing decent shots. Oh, wicked left hand comes in from Buckland, but Sykes has eaten a lot of those. He takes another one on the side of the head.
Yep, it's got nothing to do with skill, tactics or anything else. It's just about strength, courage and what you're prepared to give.
What a battle. But I'll tell you something, it's been so good, we don't even know who the third man in the ring is. I think Alex Harper said it earlier, you don't need a referee in this one. Buckland with his nose in front, according to our computer. But that is too close to call, it really is.
Another tremendous round, and it's amazing what these young men are dragging out of themselves. Just another reminder of what the British title and the Lonsdale belt, for that matter, means to young fighters. They have given every ounce for every second. a tremendous battle, probably even better than we had hoped.
There is so much on the line, isn't there, for both of them? This fella's missed one shot at a British title. Here's his second. Is it going to be second time lucky? And is this fella going to hang on to a Lonsdale belt for keeps? What a battle. Two terrific battlers. Who is going to win this British super featherweight title? It could all come down to a barnstorming finish. Buckland goes off like an express train, and Sykes has got to match this. And they've both got to take some risks. And it's edge of the seat stuff now for everybody.
Well, once again, Gary Sykes has shown that grit that he has. Just the way he can dig in and turn things around in his favour late in such a punishing fight. Buckland has lost that tightness that he had earlier on. Both struggling, obviously. But Sykes is maybe looking a little bit stronger here in the last round. Buckland with his mouth open there.
But what about the conditioning, Jim? Look at this. Round 12 of a real grueling battle, and they're both just swinging and plugging away. Neither man will give an inch. And Sykes, all those superior boxing skills. It's not about that now, it's about his heart. And there's no doubting that. Making Buckland miss and getting in and working the body a bit more. How close is it? How are Howard Foster, Mark Green and Dave Parris seeing this one?
Sykes is able to bully Buckland a little bit in that exchange. Buckland catching gloves now, not finding the target the way he was doing earlier. What a tremendous effort from both of these young men.
It's been another terrific British title fight. We keep seeing them. There's something about a Lonsdale belt on the line that brings out the best in a British boxer. Time and time again, and we're seeing it here. Sykes so close to owning one of those outright. Buckland so close to having one for the first time. There's going to be joy for one of these two, despair for the loser.
Yeah, well, it's a huge night for Sykes with the Lonsdale belt. I mean, he thoroughly deserves to have a Lonsdale belt for his own property. But I tell you, whatever way this goes, we can't argue.
Oh, beautiful shot! Hand, and Buckland was stunned for a moment and then just recovered, and the moment was gone. But it was a terrific shot from Sykes.
Well, on my card, Sykes needs a knockdown to take his title home.
And he's got 10 seconds to find it. It's going to go all the way. And if two fellas ever deserved a standing ovation, these two do. What a battle. And how do you pick a winner? What a battle.
Well, I have a 1 point up for Gary Buckland. I felt that Sykes maybe gave himself a little bit too much to do by the halfway stage. I thought a lot of the quality in the first half of the fight was coming from Buckland, but the way Sykes responded, you cannot argue whichever way this one goes. They both feel they have won in this kind of fight. They're both entitled to feel they have won. As you see, I have Buckland 1 point up, 115, 114, but you couldn't possibly argue here with how this goes. In the early stages, both giving it everything. But I was impressed with some of these punches from Buckland. He seemed to just find the target that little bit more cleanly than Sykes was doing. And Sykes' corner seemed to be quite happy the fact that he was losing the early rounds, that they would come into their own from the halfway stage. From the fourth, Sykes did come firing back. Fourth, fifth and sixth, tremendously hard rounds. But again, these are the punches that you seem to remember. Buckland's quality shot, it's the uppercuts, the overhand right. I thought over the piece, Buckland maybe produced a better quality of punching, but you can't separate them on punches landed or what they put into this. Tremendous battle. And again, Sykes coming back into things the way he's done so often in the past. That tremendous engine that he has, he can just keep digging in when maybe he was slipping away from him and coming back and taking charge. A couple of big punches in the last couple of rounds. Looked like a knockdown at least was on the cards. Didn't have a knockdown, but I tell you, this fight had absolutely everything else. Non-stop action, non-stop drama from start to finish. Tremendous championship battle. Better than we hoped. Tremendous battle, and I wouldn't like the job of picking a winner here.
Yeah, it really is going to be a tough call, isn't it? But I think we are ready to find out who is British super featherweight champion.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a unanimous decision. Judge Howard Foster scores the contest 115 to 114. Mark Green scores the contest 115 to 113. And Judge Dave Paris scores the contest 116 to 113. All three judges in favour of the winner by way of unanimous decision, and he is the new super featherweight
Buckland,
champion of Great Britain.
All that early work and those points in the bank have paid off. And Tony Borgler has done it again for the second Saturday in a row. The title changes hands. You have to feel for Gary Sykes, but Buckland's got it. We got Alex Arthur with us again. Alex, how did you see that one? Would you agree with that decision?
Yeah, most definitely. I had Buckland winning by 2 clear rounds, so a round more than Jim, but yeah, definitely. I think he landed the cleaner shots throughout, and his work rate was phenomenal.
And you've got to feel some sympathy as a fellow professional for Gary Sykes.
Oh, most definitely. I mean, he just fought maybe the fight of his life, you know, and he came away a loser. But he can come again. He's a young guy.
Absolutely right. If there's ever a title fight that's begging for a return, this is it. What a scrap, Jim.
You know, Nick, it's not all about who throws the most punches, it's about the skill, the quality that you get, and I always felt he had the edge. Okay, full credit to Gary Sykes. He came firing back at him, took some of the later rounds, but tremendous. Congratulations to both of these young men.
Two terrific warriors. They're both joining Adam Smith now.
Two terrific warriors, the two Garys. Last time it lasted just 45 seconds. This time, 12 rounds of pulsating action. What does it mean to you? First, Gary Buckland.
Well, definitely it was a different fight. The last fight was a prize fight. It was only 3 rounds, but this one was a good 12-round fight. I know Guy was really fit. I seemed to outbox him in the first couple of rounds, and then he come back and he was sort of coming back into the fight, but I kept strong and kept my head screwed on.
If Gary was really fit, what on earth were you?
I know, yeah. You know, we got ourselves in top condition, me, Tony and Brian. Got ourselves really fit, but we know he was going to be really fit, so job done.
You got through the early rounds. Did you start to feel that it was going to become your fight? That was the strategy?
Yeah, normally I take over in last part of the fight, but Gary kept with me, and we were a close fight. Let's look at video of our fight. We were really close.
Yeah, you could have taken that Lonsdale belt to keep forever. So close.
I'm heartbroken, really heartbroken. Now I'm going to come back and I'm going to win it another 2 times and get it secured for life.
How exciting, though, the pair of you dishing up this for the fans.
Yeah, it was really good. You know, that's what Sky needs, is 50-50 fights. I think that's what that was. People were saying to me, you're going to knock him out again, this and that, but I said, no, I'm going for the 12 rounds, and that's why I got myself so fit.
You both need a good rest after that, but will we see it again? Gary Sykes first?
Well, I'm coming back, and if he's got a belt, that's what I'm after, but I promise you it won't going to be no 45 seconds now. We're going to 12 hard rounds, and it was, and I'm glad we put a show on. I'm just disappointed from the team, because they've put a lot of work into me.
Don't be disappointed with anything. Will we have a third encounter? Will you give him another go?
Yeah, definitely. You know, if the board agrees to it and puts them up, yeah, definitely.
Two super featherweights. Congratulations, both of you, tonight, and well done for winning the belt.